Caitlin Clark has been fucking balling. I think they play later today. I'm trying to see their last game. Last game they beat the Wings 100-93. And before that, they had defeated the Chicago Sky, which was a big game. It was the highest, the highest tickets, all that good stuff. So let's see. Against the Wings, Caitlin had 28 and 12 assists. What's funny to me, right? Because they've been winning and she's been playing well. People have all of a sudden forgotten the fact that she still consistently gets 5, 6, 7 turnovers in games. It just goes to show you what winning and, having big games can do. That was sort of the complaint I had, just as a comparison, I guess, right? I remember when Jeremy Lin was going crazy for the New York Knicks, right? Obviously, Linsanity and whatnot. And he was great. He was winning games, right? But me being the basketball junkie that I am, I'm watching the games like, this motherfucker turning the ball over 6, 7, 8 times. So I'm like, wait a second. I know that we're winning. But those turnovers being consistent ultimately isn't a great thing, right? So the game before, let's take a look at this actually, was the big game. Caitlin had the 31 and 12 game, and she only had 3 turnovers, which was really big. If you guys want to see, this was against the Dallas Wings. Great topic. Your very question is the answer. Thanks, Kyle. As Ellsburn, I hope I said that correctly. It's funny because I had actually released a video around the Olympics, and my take on Caitlin Clark at the time was, because Dawn Staley, I always forget how you say her last name. Because she had come out in an interview and said that she feels like they made a mistake in not including her on the Olympic team, I was like, oh, then that means she's easily a top 15, top 12 player in the WNBA. The fact that one of the organizers, a former WNBA player, a great WNBA player that knows what she's looking at and talking about, for her to come out and say that on top of the performances that Caitlin Clark was having, this was before the Olympics. This was during the Olympics, sorry. So this was, prior to these performances. I had already felt like Caitlin Clark was a top 12 player in the WNBA. She's that good, right? Like I said, aside from the turnovers, her shooting percentages have gone up steadily. Her 3-point shooting has gotten better. It really is just the turnovers. But like I also said, right, watching the NBA, for example, when you're a passer and you get a lot of assists and you're a point guard, thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that. Thank you. Especially when you're a point guard and you pass the ball, you think of a Jayson Kidd or a Steve Nash. These players rack up turnovers, right? Because they're going to take risks. They're going to throw passes that other players wouldn't throw, because they're confident, because, their creativity is taking over. They're going to just try things. And I think that Caitlin Clark falls in that boat. To go from that, right, that she's one of the best players in the WNBA, to MVP consideration, in my opinion, is a leap, right? It is a leap. And I would have to check this. I don't think there's ever been a rookie in the WNBA, right? Like, I don't think that's ever happened. I don't think that's ever happened in the NBA. because it's just the idea is there are so many aspects of the game beyond dribbling and shooting that a rookie just doesn't understand. Right? And that's something that a lot of us fans aren't privy to, right? Only reason I'm aware of some of these things is by watching interviews and whatnot. But a rookie wouldn't understand how to recover properly on a back-to-back. You know, how to conserve themselves on a 3 games in 4 nights. How to not go out too much when they have 2 or 3 days off. You know, these things come with time and experience, right? So even if you're a great player as a rookie, oftentimes it's those little things of the game that impact you, right? Those are the little things that can prevent you from having a monster game, right? But clearly, Caitlin Clark, as the season is progressing, seems to be getting better, right? Now, does she deserve MVP consideration? I think deserve is the wrong word, right? I think a lot of folks will get offended or they'll be up in arms because some people think that she deserves it. I think that she's earned it. I do think that she's earned the right to put her name in that hat. Now, does that mean that I think she'll be the MVP? No. Because there's a lady in Las Vegas that has been doing everything in her power to keep that team afloat. And I think the reason why you can throw Caitlin Clark in this conversation is if you take A'ja Wilson off of the Las Vegas Aces, if you take Caitlin Clark off of the Indiana Fever, then both teams would be struggling to even make the playoffs right now. Struggling. And that's not to say that the other players on that team aren't very good to great. You know, obviously the Aces have dealt with injuries all year. So that's a part of my argument for A'ja Wilson, right? They've had to deal with injuries all year. So she's been forced to give out more output. And she's done that. Whether it's points, rebounds. I was looking at it. She's first in scoring, right? She's number 1 in scoring in the WNBA. Here, let's take a look at this right here. She's number 1 in scoring. Points per game, she's number 1. Rebounds, she's second. Blocks, she's first. Steals, she's tied for second, right? I know they're saying over here fourth, but she's tied for second. Field goal percentage, she's 5th. I mean, her team is in 4th place right now in the playoff picture. You can't... I get that Caitlin has been phenomenal. But 27.5, 12.1 rebounds, and 2.7 blocks per game are just simply unreal. Right? And for the Aces, it's about what their playoffs really look like. They're gonna get there, right? And their story has been their leader, their best player, has sort of carried this team to a 4th place, seeding in the playoffs. You know, and had they been healthy all year, able to get their reps in time, they could have been flirting with, you know, 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. They're right there. So I don't think you could take that away from A'ja Wilson. I know a lot of people have been talking about Napisha Collier. I I feel like Breanna Stewart hasn't been in a lot of these conversations either. So for me, Caitlin Clark is damn near third because of the impact that she has on this team. Now, excuse me, if you were to ask me in terms of this race, if her shooting percentages and her turnovers were any better, I think you could legitimately put her in the MVP. Legitimately. But I think if you have her win it right now and she has her, what is it, like, I'm trying to see what her actual numbers look like right now. I mean, it's a lot. It's better than what it was when it started. She's at 18.7, 42.4 from the field, 34 from 3, 89.7 from the line, averaging 5.6 rebounds, 8.4 assists, 5.5 turnovers, 1.4 steals. It's really solid. It's really, really solid. And like I said, I do think that she's earned consideration. I don't want to have this conversation without also giving credit to her teammates, because they're able to play great because of Caitlin. And I'm talking about Kelsey Mitchell, who's been phenomenal, and Aaliyah Boston. Both really good one-on-one players. Aaliyah Boston, good at one-on-one in the post. Kelsey Mitchell just got a handle. She has that hang dribble to a T. And lefty too. So they've been really great. And they've also opened it up for Caitlin. So having those two on her team, that's why she's able to get these assists, right? You couldn't get those many assists if everyone couldn't shoot, or you just had straight bums either, right? So yeah, I do definitely think that Caitlin Clark has earned her way to MVP consideration. And with that being said, I think she clears the Rookie of the Year. I think at this point, it's hers to lose.